as them they look yo, all eyes on me like a two-pack yo. I keep them Balenciaga, they shady milli, a two-bad yo. I know they for your chit-chat yo, carry your matter they go TikTok yo. My gentle days on go, I know they look back yo. I don't land no, now you go see commando. When we land no, now you go see commando. We don't land no. I go.
Hello, my name is Kanwanko aka Papilo. For the latest and trending sports stories, always listen to Today Sports Live on Today95.1 FM Port Harcourt.
Them they look yo, all eyes on me like a two-pack yo. I keep them Balenciaga, they shady milli, a two-bad yo. I know they for your chit-chat yo, carry your matter they go TikTok yo. My gentle days on go, I know they look back yo.
The summer transfer window continues, and many have already given it a tag, a transfer window without a marquee signing. But how about Chelsea selling Mason Mount to Manchester United, and Declan Rice, we understand, has left West Ham to Arsenal in a bid to fulfill that £105 million signing by the North London clubs. Very good afternoon to you. Many thanks for joining us on today's edition of Today's Sports Live, reaching you from the studios of your premium news talk and sports radio station, Today 95.1 FM, right here in the Garden City of Port Harcourt. Apologies for coming up a little bit behind time, but we are here to look at trending matters in the world of sports, precisely football at this point, and that will be European football in focus, as we have topical matters to discuss on the show this afternoon. Once again, my name is Reliance Udonyan, and I have the company of the guys who will do justice to the analysis side of the divide on the show this afternoon, and I equally have you listening in from different locations, different walks of life, that is, and I'm sure you're enjoying the Amapiano that's playing at the background by Casey, titled Ojapiano. I tend to find a way to fall in love with Amapiano these days, other than Afrobeat. That has always been my best genre in music. But it's great to be here. We're not talking music. We are here to discuss football. And once again, many thanks for joining us. Let's bring in the guys, starting off with your favorite Melanin sports presenter, Victor Oriahi. Very good afternoon to you, and thank you for showing up for work today.
Well, I mean, when do they thank you for doing your job? The thanks is the thanks is at the end of the month. You know, that's the most important thanks that we can.
In Nigeria, you are thanked for doing your job. When you do your job, you hear headlines and so many praises coming up your way. And what reason? I mean, you're just doing your work. But it's great to have you here, Victor.
Yes, certainly it's great to be here. Good afternoon to you, Reliance, to all, to everyone listening. It's really, really great to be here. And another exciting Saturday. We continue our countdown to the FIFA Women's World Cup. And while there might not be European football in action in a competitive level, there's still so much to talk about in the world of sport. And of course, the situation outside the world of sports. Was it a couple of days back? You know, we had Dele Ali just share his childhood experiences and all the things that he's gone through as a young man that eventually had a ripple effect in his football. And then we got to see another situation yesterday. This time it was the former Manchester City footballer Benjamin Mendy. So there's so much happening in and around football, in and around sports, and it's really great to be here. Let's not forget, we've got the Wimbledon, the final of the Grand Slam today. That's for the women's singles.
Wimbledon of revenge. It has been tagged. The final between Marketa Vondrousova and Ons Jabeur.
And I just have to say this, Reliance, it's the Rice has finally done. He's been confirmed.
Okay.
Arsenal have
breaking news.
Signed Declan Rice for a British record fee. So we've been talking about when will this food be ready.
Yeah.
Well, Arsenal have just put that one up that the man is in.
So they'll start dishing the food from August. I think 12th of August or 15th, when the Premier League season begins proper.
Yeah.
So they'll start dishing the food. The rice has been properly cooked, and we'll eat it sometimes August. So Arsenal fans who have been grinding their teeth and asking, when will this be confirmed? It's done. Declan Rice is now, I want to say a red, but let me just say a gunner. Let me leave it like that.
Yeah.
All right, Chiku Zite, otherwise known as Young Chooks, is here. Chiku, how are you? Good afternoon. Welcome.
I'm nice. Good afternoon, Good afternoon to Victor. Good afternoon to the guys listening to us from anywhere around Port Harcourt City. The addition of timbers help cooking the rice food.
Right.
Yes. So
right.
it has been long awaited. So.
Wisdom.
The firewood, the timber help the rice to dawn faster. Oh,
Wisdom.
Don't leave me, my brother.
All right, the SMS and WhatsApp portal are there for your reactions to the discussion we'll be having this afternoon on the show. The number this time will be only the SMS and WhatsApp portal 0701 933 9962. That is 0701 933 9962. I love on my piano. I don't know about you. All right, the major talking point on today's show will be Yaya Toure, the Man City team that just won the treble, and the 2009 Pep Guardiola's Barcelona team. That will form the major talking point of today on the show. But before then, let's look at Benjamin Mendy's case just a little bit before we move on. Because like Victor mentioned, while you may be expecting sporting actions on the field of play, sporting actions are happening outside the field of play, and one of it will be Benjamin Mendy, who wept yesterday and said, "Praise be to God," after he was cleared of rape and attempted rape. The ex-Man City player, 28 years he is, was accused of carrying out 6 attacks on 2 women at his £4 million mansion. He was cleared after 3 hours of deliberation by a jury at Chester Crown Court yesterday afternoon and broke down in the dock afterwards before saying he was delighted with the not guilty verdict. Mendy had faced a retrial on 1 count of rape and 1 count of attempted rape during lockdown busting parties. He is now a free man, but without a club after his Man City contract expired at the end of June, and having played his last game for the Premier League champions in August 2021. The French international fullback was already cleared of 6 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual assault after a court case in January. Mendy wept when he was cleared. His lawyer said he would now rebuild his life and a return to top-flight football is not likely. The emotional star declined to comment outside court, only to say, Alhamdulillah, an Arabic phrase meaning praise be to God. Now here is Jenny Wiltshire, head of serious and general crime at Hickman and Rose, speaking after the trial.
At the end of this trial,
Benjamin Mendy would like to thank the members of the jury for focusing on the evidence in this trial, rather than on the rumour and innuendo that have followed this case from the outset. This is the second time that Mr. Mendy has been tried and found not guilty by the jury. He is delighted that both jurors reached the correct verdicts.
Benjamin, 2.5 years of your life taken away, football career affected.
3 years since the police started investigating this matter. Mr. Mendy has tried to remain strong, but the process has inevitably had a serious impact on him.
Benjamin Mendy.
Thanks everyone who has supported him throughout this ordeal and now asks for privacy so he can begin rebuilding his life.
And football fans around the world just would like to hear a few words from you about how you feel.
Alhamdulillah.
All right, that was Benjamin Mendy speaking towards the end of that interview. He was asked, how do you feel regarding the verdict that was passed just some hours ago, yesterday, on the charges leveled against him earlier on attempted rape and a rape case by 2 different women. The only thing he could say was Alhamdulillah, and didn't say more than that, despite so many attempts by the reporter who covered the court's ruling to get him to speak about his football career, words to fun, and all that. Mendy was quiet, only for Jenny Wiltshire to read a statement on behalf of Benjamin Mendy. A promising footballer, 28 years, Victor, has been cleared. I don't know what to make of the situation. There have been several rape cases targeted at footballers, elite athletes. Would you say this was one of them?
Genuinely, I mean, before now, I was always very skeptical to speak on this very issue, but then the court has deemed it fit that the man is innocent. So, of course, he is innocent, regardless of whatever people might think. He had 8 different cases, and that's just the first thing. The first thing I could say when I got to hear about this was himself, needs to hold body. That's the best way to put it. Probably he needs to hold body. Did something happen between him and those people? Most likely something did, but was it rape? The court has seen it as it wasn't rape. Whatever happened between him and all the people who have accused him, because we're talking about sexual offenses against a number of women. And then earlier this year, he was cleared of about 7 of them, or 6
counts.
of them,
Yeah.
6 counts.
Yeah.
And then the case continued. It's a really sad one, and I think I was more touched by something Memphis Depay did say, asking what happens next for Benjamin Mendy, because you talk about a man who came through Le Havre's youth academy, was a fantastic bowler at Marseille. From there, he went to Monaco. From there, he went to Manchester City for a then world record transfer fee for a defender. Many persons don't remember that Mendy had that sort of bright light, that he was the then record for a defender. Man City brought him for that amount of money. And it's just so sad that since 2021, he's really not been able to play competitive football as a result of all of these issues. And at the end of the day, he's a free agent right now. It's a terrible one, I must say. It's a really, really terrible one, Reliance. And the big question is, how does he pick himself up from this? What will happen? And what then must be done in order to ensure people who wrongly accuse certain individuals for a certain crime would probably need to also get similar punishment? Because at this point in time, you begin to wonder. You accuse a man of rape and you literally damage his entire footballing career. Trust me, it's going to take perhaps another 1 year before Mendy might even get to play competitive level for a club.
Mason Greenwood is just
Mason Greenwood's issue
has
ended, but Manchester United, the court has cleared him and all. But what happened? Man United said they are still doing their own investigations, and then they would make a decision known. So we don't even know if United will still be getting Mason Greenwood or will be putting him as part of the squad, the players for next season, or if they're going to be loaning him out to another side. But a lot of big name teams would not want themselves to be associated with these sort of things, because rape is a really, really it's a serious crime. It's a serious offense. And there is still a large number of persons who feel the court probably just said he's innocent. Maybe the ladies did not have a proof. But then, how many people have all these things to say about the same person? So there are always those sets of persons, and those people are also going to be fans of of different clubs. So certain clubs will try their best to avoid these scenarios. How many footballers do we actually see that is accused of rape, that stays this long without playing football, and eventually comes back into the game and plays for a top club and is banging in goals left, right and center, or is playing competitive matches week in, week out, having the same sort of support? There are very few footballers. Right now, I can't even think of any from the top of my head. Probably I'll need to do some research, but I can't think of any from the top of my head. It shows you how...
Maybe the issue of Neymar, although I don't think Neymar's own went to trial.
No.
He didn't.
No.
He didn't. Neymar's own didn't go to trial. Ronaldo's own as well.
Ronaldo's own was more of a out-of-court settlement. It was out-of-court settlement, But this one is something that is taking over. Mendy last played for Man City in 2021. This is 2023. It's taking almost 2 years.
Almost a year.
Over 1 year.
2 years.
It's taking almost 2 years.
Next month we'll make it exactly 2 years.
So it's taking almost 2 years for this very issue. How many times do you see a footballer is out of what you love doing? And we say, when is the prime time for a footballer's career? What age is prime? 25, 26. When you hit that age, it's said that you're said to be in your prime. Mendy is 28. All of these issues started when he was 26. So he has, would I say, he has lost sort of a huge part of his prime years as a footballer. It's going to be a really difficult one seeing Mendy come back from this. And it's just so pathetic, Right. It's so pathetic. The accusers, I don't know what to say.
I'll get back to you on the accusers, but young Chooks, let's talk about Mendy's football career. Has been a part of a title-winning squad for Man City, but again, after now, do you see him recovering? It's been a lot. There's gonna be that stigma on Benjamin Mendy, because like Victor mentioned, some are saying the court can declare you innocent, may not necessarily mean that you didn't commit the crime. It's about going to the court and the best lawyer wins, who is able to present the case more better than the other the opposing, what do they call it in law terms? I can't figure out the word at the moment. So how far with Mendy's career at this point? Do you think he can still recover, and where do you think he would want to start from?
Looking at Mendy from the right of Monaco till he made a transfer move to Man City, look at the way he has stepped up and everything aspect of Man City. We've been winning the Premier League with Man City. I feel I feel disappointed, because you look at your career and how it's moved and how it was glorious, and Victor mentioned those days world record transfer for the defender, and when he hit that status, you know that you're at the right track. So looking at club fans, looking at the spectators, looking at even football generally, how many sponsorship deals will you want to even put on Mendy back, or look at the Greenwood case, even look at the Ryan Giggs case, look at Adams for former Stoke City player. All these players have not come out effectively as they did when they were playing their football up before the case. So Greenwood is just one of those that is still trying to recover. But for Mendy, I think if a club want to look for him, it's based on, let's try him again, let's just give him a test, look at how he might prove himself. But it's very difficult. How many footballers have we seen that have recovered from this kind of serious case? So Mendy, I think he has to put himself off again. The way he tried to hide himself from the media has already showed that he's disappointed already. His career is almost over. When you have lost 3 to 2 years of your footballing career, is painful, and you don't have any effect on the player's career. And football is all about age. So you don't play football for a long time. You just play for a certain period of time. So when he has lost like 3 years of his career, it's going to be very, very massive. I think he has to go back to the scratch, go for a lesser club, maybe Serie D side, or even look at the championship side. Even championship side is even looking at building their status again. No, I don't think any championship side will even try to risk it with Benjamin Mendy. So try to go to France, look for a lesser club like Lorient and the rest, and just play 1 or 2 years and try to beat from there.
All right, so maybe
and the fact that he is a free agent, gives him that ability, so he could just make the move. I completely agree with him. I don't think at this point in time Mendy will be able to move to a top level club, and even the English Championship. No offense to the British, but then I mean, we saw the what they did to Kurt Zuma for kicking a cat. We saw the backlash that the man received for almost 6 months. Even after the offenses, he had paid the price, they had deducted, he had lost sponsorship deals and all. He was still being regularly booed in West Ham games. So certainly not even the Championship. Perhaps a move back to his native France, closer to home, and starting with probably a Ligue 2 side might just be the best for Mendy.
Maybe Saudi can come calling at this point.
Perhaps.
Would they want to?
Perhaps,
consider?
but it might just be they might want to calculate the risk.
I know that there are human rights problems. So I think they don't involve themselves in Mendy. It's obviously that they are trying to avoid human rights, number one. And Benjamin Mendy has already involved himself in fouling the human rights already. So I think Saudi Arabia will try to just avoid this case. The best thing is just go for local home, France.
All right. So what do you think about the Benjamin Mendy situation? He has been, should I say, acquitted? Would that word properly fit in, Victor? Has been cleared. Okay. So he has been cleared of rape and attempted rape by the courts. And he's now a free man, as at the same time a free agent, because his contract expired, I think, July, with Man City. So how do you see the man coming back now? But here is the thing I really want us to look at before we move on, Victor. I could recall sometimes during Justin Bieber's situation, if you can place your mind, when issues happened around accusation of rape and attempted rape by, I think, 2 ladies, if they can remember the story vividly very well. And it happened that when investigations were carried out, it happened that this guy was not even at the place they said the issue happened at the time they said it happened. And I was like, what exactly is happening? Why is it that when these elite people, I think I made a post on my Facebook page at the time, once they get to the twilight of their career, the peak of their career, something will just happen. But in terms of accusation, when Bieber was nobody, probably nobody looked into him. The same scenario with Neymar, when he was just a nobody in Brazil, nobody reasoned him. The former CAF president could recall, issues around sexual assault and all that. Why is it always that when they get that prominence, and there is that financial buoyance that comes with it, suddenly somebody comes up and there's there's accusation of attempted rape and rape, sexual assault and all of that. But when these people were nobodies, or is it that they will be happening, we've not been hearing because they were not, at the front light at that point. So what happens to mass situations like this, Victor? What happens to people who make these accusations? Mendy has lost a whole lot. Other people, who have faced similar cases have lost. So what happened to people, the accusers, who, by the verdict of the court at this point, can be said accuse these people wrongly?
Well, Reliance, in the ecosystem of rape, there are two distinct groups. There's the predator, there's the prey. But it looks like these days they ought to be the false accusers as well. Severally, we've gotten to hear of, and this is just, we've gotten to hear severally of people who are serving time or who have been at risk of serving time simply because of someone falsely accused them. And it's so terrible because, like I said earlier, rape is such a big issue. It's a criminal offense. Now, when we have people who are falsely accusing others of that sort of criminal offense, it now becomes a problem when someone is now saying the truth, because the rate at which it's coming, it's crazy. The rate at which it's coming is actually crazy. You talked about it doesn't happen before. When you get to a certain level, you get to taste a certain level of success. If it was coming once in 2 years, it probably come 500 times in a short space, in a short span. So I really do not think it's I think it's just one of the things that comes with success, and footballers need to be, they need to protect themselves. Now, what do I mean by that? That's why I said at the start of the show, Mendy needs to find a way to hold body, because if you are not in a place, it becomes harder to say you did this to me.
But Victor, you're forgetting these people are also human beings. They live life. It doesn't come out because I do something.
I'm still saying it that I kept on following this Mendy case and the trial. One of the ladies said Mendy told her that I've had sex with 10,000 women.
Yeah,
he told her, she said it in the court, that he said he had sex with 10,000 women, so it was not a big deal. One thing is almost certain, that something transpired between Mendy and the lady or the ladies in question. But the big question now is, what transpired? Was it consensual or was it forceful? Because Mendy is saying it's consensual. He didn't force anything. Anybody, and the lady is saying it was forceful. So that's the problem. If you are not in that situation,
But what if you are targeted? What if you are targeted? Yeah, like you are targeted and
stay inside your house. When you go to train, you go back to your house.
Lock the door of your house. Everything happened during that COVID period, right?
Yeah.
Now, one way or the other, like Ziteye mentioned, these footballers are humans.
True.
If I wouldn't learn that, if I hadn't learned that before, I would learn it from Calvin Phillips' story. Then there's also the Dila Ali story that all broke out recently. Now, within that COVID period, they'll probably one company. And what if the lady in question sees an opportunity and is like, put up a false reaction just to lay a claim to something?
I don't know how to answer what you're asking me.
Anyways, it's a very dicey situation. But what's major at this point is what happens. Should there be penalties to false accusations?
It's something that has been said from several. I remember earlier this year I was reading a report by, I think, Sahara, and the report categorically said that false accusers need to be held accountable to the highest extent, having a directly proportional sentence. The amount of jail time that would have been given to a rapist, when the court examines it properly and discovers that that didn't happen, they need to have probably a similar sentence. That's the only way that we're going to be seeing these sort of things reduced. And I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree with that because there's so much that comes with a false accusation. We're not even talking about the impact now. Now let's leave football part of it, even to the regular person. There's so much damage it does to your reputation. There's so much damage it does to the psyche. And now I'm still saying this is not a leeway for people to say, oh, okay, so now if they're going to be arresting false accusers, then maybe I should just not talk if I don't have the evidence that I was raped or these sort of things happened. I think those who commit the crime even deserve bigger sentences, because it's inhumane for anyone. But then what's the point in defaming and just
for selfish interest?
It's pathetic.
All right, so let's move on now to the major talking points of today on the show, and I appreciate you for being there. But if you want to weigh in on the Mendy situation, what should be done going forward, how he revives his career, because his attorney said that at this point Mendy is looking at rebuilding. Can he come back to that apex level of playing football again? Benjamin Mendy, after he has been cleared of charges on rape and attempted rape yesterday in court. So let's move on now. Use the SMS and WhatsApp portal 0701 933 9962. That is 0701 933 9962. Yaya Toure has played for Pep Guardiola at Barcelona and at Manchester City. He has given a verdict on the 2009 treble-winning Barcelona squad under Pep Guardiola and the 2023 treble-winning Man City squad under the same manager, Pep Guardiola. His eyes lit up as he reels off Barcelona's iconic lineup from when they won the treble in 2009. He started Thierry Henry, Messi, Samuel Eto'o, who was the best in the world. After that, Iniesta and Xavi, then me and Busquets. That team was so complete. Indeed, it was the team led by Pep Guardiola that won La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League that year has been regarded by many as the most aesthetically pleasing in modern football history with their sumptuous tiki-taka. Toure, a midfielder, slotted in at centre-half as Barcelona beat Manchester United 2-0 in Rome to gloriously round off what was Guardiola's first proper year in management. But the roll call of all teammates is Toure's way of answering whether that Barcelona side would beat Manchester City's current cohort, also treble winners. Toure believes they would. It would be tough, but that team, with a mix of superstars, so many great players, I think they would win. 100%, he concludes. It was a dream. Even when we were in a training session, it was so intense. The levels we had every day. Imagine Iniesta when he was 26, 27. Xavi when he was 28. Those players in that period were incredible. Toure said, maybe one day technology will allow us to play this match and know for sure, but Toure is well placed to judge. He left Barcelona in 2010 and joined City when they were just a pesky nuisance to Manchester United, the so-called noisy neighbours, as Sir Alex Ferguson memorably dismissed them. 316 matches, 79 goals, and 3 Premier League titles later, Toure left the Etihad Stadium in 2018, a club legend, with United increasingly a speck in City's rear view mirror. That gap has only widened, and Toure was in Istanbul last month to see City claim their holy grail, the first under Pep Guardiola after his Barcelona team, the UEFA Champions League. Victor, let's dive into this conversation. First off, before we even get into the point that Toure made, let's look at that Barcelona team. How does it compare to this Manchester City's treble winning squad. That 2009 Barcelona team. And by the way, that was the first proper year of Pep Guardiola as a football manager. He just came, I think 2018, when 2008 rather, he took over, I think mid-season or thereabouts, promoted from the Syria, the what was it called, the La Masia. And then, now 2009, there was that treble. How does that treble winning squad of Barcelona in 2009 compare to this Man City's treble winning squad?
Well, okay. Well, I don't think you're asking me. First of all, let me just say, I don't think you're asking me right now to choose which one is better, right?
No. I'm just saying, how does it compare? How do they compare? Yeah.
Well, I think both squads brought something new that is eventually going to change, or that sort of changed the footballing space. 2008-2009 was when we got to understand and see tiki-taka, because it was at that point in time, many persons kept on wondering, what exactly is happening? What is this? Where did this style of play, this sort of passing come from? Which all the players, they were literally at their very best. Intelligent movements, positional interchange, quick short passes, everything was just spot on. And like I said, it was a great tactical revolution that eventually got integrated into even the Spanish football itself, that Spain had to use. And at the end of the day, the following year, the 2010 World Cup, they won the World Cup simply because of tiki-taka, how Pep Guardiola brought in tiki-taka, and then it just sort of evolved football. Then for the 2022-2023 Manchester City team, total football. I think that's what it's called, right? Total football. What Pep Guardiola has been able to do. A seamless, near perfect, fluid system of football. Not one player is remaining in a fixed role. Not one player is remaining in one position. All of this complemented by the high press. A flexibility that many persons have not seen in football for a very long time. We keep talking about John Stones and how he's been moved from a centre back, moved into defense. It was just total football.
Yeah.
We kept on hearing about it all season, because at every department, you almost could not fault Manchester City at every department. And then to now add to all of this, they now brought in a juggernaut. They brought in a robot, a machine in Erling Braut Haaland, a centre forward that just made them adopt a more direct style while still having the total football. It was beautiful to watch Manchester City, and that's why we keep on saying, last season we kept on saying that this is one of the best teams right now in world football. The total football is also something that I feel in years to come will literally change the way a lot of managers start processing and building the teams. We've seen it severally with Manchester City squads. The building from the back all of a sudden is becoming a new thing. There are so many innovations that Pep brings in, and before you know it, 2-3 seasons, a lot of clubs are already adopting that sort of thing. So I think I'll say tiki-taka for the 2008-2009, and then total football for 2022-2023.
Interesting. We're going to get to the crux of the conversation, but let me come to you now, young Chooks. I'm sure you would like to look at that football, these two clubs you're talking about, like for like in terms of department. The midfield, the defense, the goalkeepers involved, and of course the attack. How would you compare them? How would you look at them? How they compare to each other, department by department?
Okay, I'll start from the 2008-2009. I'll look at back and how they are playing. Look at the department of striking position. I look at that department. I see them as mercurial. They are talented footballers that's over there. At a certain time, it was one of the top class performers in world football. I look at a young Messi that is always ravaging defense line. So I think looking at that attacking setup by Pep Guardiola, those 2009-2010, then compared to the Pep Guardiola 2003 Man City squad, I think they have an each better than the 2023 squad, because of I see it as really the Haaland robotic performance that just helped the Man City team to be more direct, like Victor said. That's the best performer in that department. So, but compared to the Barca squad, you have a series of talents. You have series of talents. So that's the better. That's the comparison between the attacking from department. Then comes to the midfield. I think it's a bit difficult because I see Rodri was a masterclass. I think then you look at Gundogan. Gundogan was, how would I put it? It's I'm trying to look for the word, but Gundogan was seamless. He was perfect.
Do you know who the midfielders were for Barcelona?
I know. I'm trying to come that area. I'm coming.
I just mentioned them for. I gave him a team.
I don't have a back about. See the brain, one of the top class performer. He can to put passes even through the camera and the notice eye. Even like anywhere you are, just give him the ball. He knows what to do with the ball. Then coming to Barca, I think this is God. These are God in the midfield because Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, then the man himself, Toure. I think that's a complete set of generational midfielders that we had, and I think we are going to miss them for a while because Iniesta, his playing days was one of a kind. Look at Xavi. No one understands the kind of passing he's always giving. Then plus the complement of Messi there. Messi always drop to the middle to help those midfielders. Busquets, anywhere he smells blood. He knows what to do when they're lacking. Their defense is almost breaking. Then for the defense line, Puyo, Busquets, and I think Dani Alves was part of that squad.
Yeah, he just came in.
Yeah, Dani Alves was part of that squad. So the three, I think Man City defense will be better than those because I personally don't believe that Piqué had played to the top of quality at that point because from making the transfer from United to Barca, played 2 or 3 seasons before Pep came in, and I think Pep has made the defense line in Man City one of the biggest shield. The shield because their confidence, you don't even know who will play. Even anybody that is even missing can.
Anybody can slot in.
Yes. So you see John Stones, Bernardo Silva played at a certain time as a leg back. Look at Diaz, look at Laporte, so I think it's a more complete defense line set up for Man City than look at the Barca squad.
All right. So if you cannot remember that team, just find a way to find that team in front of you so that when you call in, I don't know why Victor is laughing. So when you call in,
somebody said no.
So that when you call in, you'll be better placed to have your eyes on the players who were paraded by Pep Guardiola 2829 compared to this to 2022-2023 Man City squad, as Yaya Toure has given a verdict, on this squad compared to his own squad 2829 that won the treble as well. Victor, let me come to you now. Chukwueze has highlighted department by department, although you didn't talk about the goalkeepers, but let's have your own thought. What you think department by department for these two teams?
I think department by department, there's definitely perhaps maybe just the goal, so that I don't give everything to Barcelona of 2008-2009. Up front, you had Ronaldinho had just left the team that year. You had a Samuel Eto'o, a Thierry Henry, and a young Lionel Messi. 3 of them combined to score 100 goals in all competitions. Messi was the highest goal scorer that year. I think he had like about 38 goals or so. I'll just confirm that one. Yes, he had 38 goals. Samuel Eto'o had 36 goals. Thierry Henry had 26 goals. Massive from these 3 players. Then you go into the midfield setup where you had an Andres Iniesta, a Xavi, a Yaya Toure, as well as a Sergio Busquets. No problem. I mean, beautiful stuff that Man City is doing with De Bruyne and Gundogan and Rodri. But you can't compare. You cannot compare the quality that was oozing through Xavi. Like, you could literally see if you had cut his blood, you'd be seeing it's not blood. If you had cut his skin, you'd be seeing quality blood. I don't know how you know which blood is quality, but I'm pretty sure there would have been a way. Maybe his blood was silver. You never could tell. But it was top level football, even in that midfield position for this Manchester City side, for the Barcelona team. And then in defense, we had some of the best Spanish players of their generation. There was the captain, Carlos Puyol. You had Gerard Piqué, who had just come into I think he had just come into Barcelona at that point in time. They brought in Dani Alves from Sevilla, and immediately he hit the ground running. I mean, probably if you because it's very difficult to remember some of these things because it's past. Probably you need to go back and watch some of these Barca matches and see the connection that Dani Alves and Lionel Messi had. You'll be wondering if it was Alves or Ronaldinho, or Ronaldinho and Messi rather, because it was so beautiful to see this Barcelona team play. And then Victor Valdez was the main goalkeeper. I'll only give it to Ederson as in that department, goalkeeping department. I think Ederson is, I would rate him as a better goalkeeper compared to Victor Valdez, because of his exploits and the fact that he's also able to make some beautiful supplies. He doesn't just keep clean sheets and all of that. He's also a ball playing goalkeeper. But then from defense line, Abidal as well was a part of that Barcelona setup. I think it was that 2008-2009 Barcelona all the way. It's got to be them. The quality in that Barcelona team is one that I do not think we would even get to see anytime soon in the world of football. So they both played incredible football, no doubt about that. But I think this Barcelona, what they boasted, the flair, the freedom, the creativity, the imperious march towards 3 titles, and most times we say it's very hard to do something for the first time. When you do it the first time, you know that okay, then it's possible. This was the first time it was happening for Pep Guardiola. In his very first season, you win the Champions League, you win the Copa del Rey, and you win the Spanish La Liga. I know at that point in time when they won the league at the end of the day, they had I think 11 points ahead of Real Madrid. The goals that they scored, in total they scored 105 goals in the league alone, and consider just 35 goals. That was like a plus 70 goal difference. You couldn't compare it to Real Madrid and what Real Madrid were able to play. And I think it could have even been more if not towards the last part of the season, where they now lost to Mallorca or Osasuna, and the last game they did draw with Deportivo La Coruna. So I give this to that Barcelona team, no doubt from start to finish. They were a beautiful sight to watch, and I just cannot in any way take anything from them.
All right, I'm still going to stick with you, Victor, before I get back to Chukwuzite. Now, there's Erling Haaland for Manchester City. Can Haaland replace anybody in that 2009 squad?
Perhaps a Thierry Henry or a Samuel Eto'o. I think he could replace them. No disrespect to any of them. I think they are amazing footballers. Even at that point in time, they were top level footballers. But then Erling Haaland is Erling Haaland. I would literally find a way to get Erling Haaland
is it about,
to just get him into that team because
is it about
he's
finding
Erling Haaland.
a way to put him there, or he can't make it in there?
No, I think he can make it. It's difficult to say, Reliance. We're talking about 2 different generations, but with what the man did that in his first season with Manchester City, I think Haaland can make it there.
He can make it there, right?
Yeah. But if we're doing a combined 11, if we're just choosing which department was better, I would go Barcelona. But if it was a combined 11, I think up front, I'll probably take out a Samuel Eto'o for Erling Haaland. In the midfield, I'll take out a Puskas for perhaps a Kevin De Bruyne or a Rodri. But I think Xavi and Iniesta has got to remain in that very team. And then in the defense, I'll have Carlos Puyol, take out Gerard Piqué, put in a Ruben Diaz.
Okay, we'll get back to that side. Do you have a different opinion? Would you take out anybody in that 2009 front lineup and place Erling Haaland? Has he got what it takes to fit in there?
Victor Wilson, you just have to put him there because I think he has refined goal scoring prowess, and he has refined the touch of goal scoring, because the man is just clinical up front. When he see the ball, he can most likely score. And for Samuel Eto'o, it's almost the same thing. But I think I'll move Thierry Henry and just slot in Haaland for that mix. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about the midfield. Xavi, Busquets, Iniesta. Then there is Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, and then Ilkay Gundogan. Who fits in to where? Chukwuzite.
That midfield position, I think is. I don't think I'll put anybody from the Man City squad. I think the midfield is complete. The midfield is more of players that are.
But you just Man City.
I think. See, Xavi. I can't take anybody for Xavi position. I can't look Iniesta. No, that guy, he was phenomenal. Then look at Busquets. If I'm considering Busquets, I think Rodri performance this season was top notch. But you look at this Busquets at a certain period of time, he was also top notch performance. He was top class performer at that period of time. He did what Rodri did even this season, but even better than him. So I think that midfield is just so complete that you can put anybody else. But apart from De Bruyne, which I might try, but it's too hard to find where we slot in.
Victor, do you agree? Now, would you fill in someone?
I'll take up Busquets, I said earlier,
and
bring in either a Kevin De Bruyne. I think a Kevin De Bruyne.
That makes the midfield very open. You're having so many attacking players.
No problem. The South Puyo
no spine. No spine.
The South Puyo and Ruben Diaz, or I mean a Rodri as well. I could put in a Kevin De Bruyne or a Rodri, but I mean I feel like those two guys certainly I will do that.
Okay, let's talk about the defense lineup. By the way, sending your reactions via the SMS and WhatsApp portal for now 0701 933 9962. That is 0701 933 9962. We'll open the front lines in due time. Let's look at the defense line. Now, some have always said that Pep Guardiola is a masterclass when it comes to building midfield and attack. But has always been found wanting when it comes to building up defense. Recall in City, fourth season, he almost more or less cleared up the defenders he signed and went again on his signing spree. Spent about £250 million on signing defenders again. What many has used as a case when making a case for Jose Mourinho, who said that the defenders he signed were not giving him so much, so he needed to sign more defenders at Manchester United as at the time. The defense line of that Pep Guardiola's Barcelona team and this would you say Pep has evolved when it comes to building a shield in the defense?
Evolved? I think football has just evolved, and now then how do you rate a defender? Back then it's basically the tackles and all. The left back and the right backs were not necessarily needed to be advancing up front, swinging in the crosses. But football has evolved from there, where there's now so much expectations.
But then the Alves and Abida were doing those things.
True, but I'm still saying that then they were doing it, but could you hold them accountable and say, why are you not supplying assists and all? Now we're looking at assists and we even want to say how many goals has Ruben Diaz scored, how many assists has Ruben Diaz given. If care is not taken, we'll be asking the same stats for Alisson and goalkeepers pretty soon. So I think football then was basically focused on defenders doing
their job,
the main part of the job, which is to prevent goals from coming in. And did they do that? Yes, they did. Carles Puyol, Gerard Piqué, they absolutely did that. With Abidal and also Dani Alves. So I don't think it's a thing of Pep Guardiola evolving in his defense. I think it's just football evolving and Pep Guardiola trying to, as much as possible, to also adapt to the evolution of football. I mean, you take a look at City's current defense. It's very difficult for you to say who Pep Guardiola will start in his defense line. I think FPL, those who played fantasy football last season, got several disappointments from Pep. Yao Cancelo, you put him in your starting 11, the next thing you see Yao Cancelo on the bench. You put in a Emerick Laporte, and then he can choose to play John Stones at that position. So there was no would I say there was no consistency from Manchester City, especially this past season. Nathan Ake, John Stones, they all had several opportunities and several times in the defense line. Compared to those 4 guys who you knew that on a regular day, if they were not injured, it's going to be these 4 starting the game. So I think that also the fact that Pep was consistently rotating things with Manchester City might just not be a fair ground to judge if truly, this defense is better or he has.
But let's talk about the quality of the defenders. We've outlined them, of course. Dani Alves, Puyol, Abidal. Who have I not mentioned? Gerard Piqué. These were the 4 regular starters. Yeah. And then you come to City. For the sake of just having starters, let's just say Ruben Diaz. Let's say I almost said Benjamin Mendy. Let's say what's his name? Kyle Walker. Let's say
Cancelo started the season with them.
Okay, maybe he left to Barcelona. Yeah, before he left for Bayern.
Akanji.
Okay, let's say Manuel Akanji. Yeah, I think I'll go for Ruben Diaz partnership with Manuel Akanji for the sake of having regular starters, right? Manuel Akanji, Ruben Diaz, Kyle Walker, and maybe Nathan Ake is in and out. Who do I use to complete 4 of them? Maybe probably Joao Cancelo when he was available. So let's look at individual qualities used by these players. Chukwuzite.
Why me? Reliance, I think this is tough. It's tough. I can't begin to mention individual qualities apart from. Okay, let me start with Piqué. Like I mentioned, Piqué didn't cut it for me at that time. I was slotting maybe Akanji. We saw how he came into from Dortmund and just slotted into the Man City defense seamlessly, and he was one of the trusted defense setup for Pep Guardiola. So quality for quality, pound for pound, Piqué. I think I'll pick Akanji ahead of Piqué. Then I go to Diaz, Puyol for me anytime, any day. He has to be the captaincy. He just showed the ability to lead from back. He has captain for fantastic. He has the quality even off the field. So he possesses most things that a defender will always want to be. Aerial prowess is there. Talk about tackles once, he's there. So I'll choose Puyol over what's his name again? Diaz. So, but for the right back, difficult.
Dani Alves.
Difficult. Walker. Slightly I'll shift to Dani Alves because for speed, recoveries, Walker had it more than Dani Alves. When we talk about the experience, the quality on the ball, that is when Alves will just take it slightly ahead of Walker. But when it's talking about the defense lineup, and the priority of a defender is to recover the ball, shoot the goalpost, and I think I'll pick Walker. But if we talk about assisting the attackers, providing assists, or trying to make quality on the ball, I think I'll go for Alba. So I think 50-50.
Now there is no the only possibility that exists where you can have these two and give them 50-50 chance, where we play one first half, play the other one second half
as a striker.
That's the only possibility where you have the 50-50 for them. And there will always be that deficiency. You could recall for Trent Alexander-Arnold when people complain that he's not good as a defender. When he surges forward, he's quite good on the ball and the assists and the crosses in, but the man has that deficiency defending, some said. So there will always be that deficiency for one thing. That's a weak point for one player. So that would be a gamble, right? Because you have to make a choice.
Okay, since my midfield is okay for me, I have an Iniesta, I have an Xavi, and I have a Busquets. So I've started for Alves. So I've started for Alves.
So it's okay.
Abidal, who I'll even put for City. I think Ake.
Nathan Ake?
I'll stay for Ake, seriously.
Okay, Victor, can you breathe? Nathan Ake for Abidal, really? Yes. Victor, my choice.
Well, like you said, you just have to say it's his choice. But some choices need to flog you for some choices. I think that's just what I think. That's just what I think. I mean, Chukwuzite has been highly critical of Gerard Piqué, and someone who probably didn't watch Barcelona play at that point in time or can't really remember some of the details might think Piqué had a poor season with Barcelona. He didn't. Piqué started every of their Champions League game that season, where they en route to winning the Champions League. He played, I think, about 25 matches in the La Liga. So in total, Piqué had about 44 appearances, and that was his first full season. They had brought him from Manchester United, and I think they sent him out on loan. They sent him on loan. Was it Mallorca? I really can't remember which of the teams that they sent him out on loan for. So this is like his first season since he was coming in, and you establish yourself in such a team. He didn't have a poor first season in any way.
What if it's a case of,
I'm comparing that with Manu Akanji, because that's this thing.
Okay.
That's he said he would rather take an Akanji for a
Gerard Piqué. Now, the reason why I want to ask this is, in the case of it's not like he really had a poor season, right? Like you reeled out the stats there. What if it's a case of what people said about David Luiz in Chelsea? Recall when David Luiz signed for Arsenal, and people were like, the man has been exposed. At Chelsea, he had people who covers ground for him and shield his errors, and so he wasn't really exposed. I mean, when you're playing with maybe say Kante, who covers a lot of grounds, and you had a defense, I think John Terry was still active at the time, so more or less he was shielded. The errors were not noticeable because of the partners. What if that was the case for Gerard Piqué, despite having the first full season and maybe putting up those numbers, so that individually you cannot really spot out the errors? It takes critical examination for you to be able to spot out the weak point from the angle in which Chukwuzite has been critical about the man.
Well, I'll leave that to Chukwuzite to point out the errors.
You're making a case for Gerard Piqué, on the premise of what Chukwuzite said. That's why I'm asking the question.
I'm literally trying to remember. I know that season, Piqué had plenty yellow cards. That one, I remember it very well. Yeah. He had a number of yellow cards in that season, and he had 2 red cards or so. I think he also had got like 2 red cards, or if not 3 in the season. But I know he had the most number of red cards but that's the thing. He was doing the dirty work. He was that man that when, I don't know how best to put it. He had this concrete understanding with Carlos Puyol, and they just formed a formidable partnership. It was too much of a block, of a defensive block. It was a tight, solid rock for Gerard Piqué. So I cannot remember any of the games where probably he was exposed or he left this person exposed, or I can't remember. But I have Manu Akanji's present season fully replaying in my head, and I'm like, I don't remember a game. Genuinely, I cannot count one game this season that I'll say Manu Akanji, no, he finished work in that game. Nothing comes to mind this whole season that Manchester City has had. No doubt about it. He had an okay first season. I think 29 appearances in the Premier League or so. 29 appearances, 6 clean sheets, and I think an assist. I don't think Manu Akanji scored a goal. Just an assist and probably 6 clean sheets. That tells you 6 clean sheets in 29 appearances.
Is it only Manu Akanji that's playing the defense line? No.
But looking at him, we're examining the both of them.
Technicality.
Should I go and bring out Gerard Piqué's clean sheet record?
You talk about
for that season,
for the whole back line. I think
it's not if you check individuals for the games that he played in, he had just 6 clean sheets.
Manu Akanji, I think he was the technical ability is there. I think fast recovery is there. He came from Dortmund, for crying out loud, and the way he slotted into that defense line setup for Pep, I know how hard it's players to impress Pep can be. It must be that kind of top quality player for Pep to recommend you in a certain lineup. So I think Akanji, even though you want to pick out a game that he performed extremely well, it's the same thing for the whole defense lineup for City. There's no game you can mention that Kawaka was fantastic.
No, there are games I can mention that Ruben Diaz was fantastic and Yao Cancelo as well.
I'll pick Kyle Walker game against Madrid where he tried to shoot Vinicius Junior. But look at, John Stones. You can't mention any game. Apart from the goal he scored.
John Stones had a better season as a midfielder than as a defender.
It's a defender for the setup we are saying. Then Ruben Diaz, I can't even mention anyone at the top of my head. Then we look out John Cancelo or even Neta Ake, we have said. I think this defender play a compact football, total football. The whole team plays together. They defend together, they attack together. They attack like a system. They defend like a system. They are just too fluid. So you can't mention the player that was too fantastic in a particular game. So I think that's the problem with this Pep Guardiola team, that everybody here is like walking like a car. The tires are there, the engine is there, the brake must be working, the steering must be at peak. So it's a system. So you can't begin to mention player for player, pound for pound, that they must perform to the peak of level.
They are more of a system than that 2009
2010. So it's obvious that this team is a system that is working than the Barca squad.
All right, so you want to weigh in, use the SMS and WhatsApp portal for now. The number is 0701 933 9962. What do you make of the 2009 treble winning squad of Barcelona compared to the 2023 treble winning squad of Manchester City under the set manager Pep Guardiola? Now, today is of the verdict that squad in 2009 Chukwueze State will beat this squad in 2023. What you say?
I will be your hero. I don't know. I can't say anything. But if you talk about creating of chances, finishing, superb. One of the world's greatest player was involved in that Barca squad. So and then I look at Haaland and his clinical goal scoring prowess. He came into the EPL and took the EPL by storm. And look at Messi. I think the same thing I have to say. This is dominant. You saw what they did against Madrid. The way they pressed, the way they made Madrid look like a certain team. They so made Madrid look so can
we also go back to when Madrid also made them look ordinary? I'm sure that was that the first time in the Champions League?
Last
season. Was it the first time in the Champions League that City played Real Madrid?
I don't think so. I think
they've met 2 seasons ago where Madrid evicted them. So can we also talk about when Madrid played them?
We're talking about this season.
This season. But you know, when you speak of it like that, it's going to look like Madrid. They've always had it rosy.
No.
They played Real Madrid.
Madrid had the upper hand the last season where the Rodrigo Wonders came into play, and Modric with his phenomenal assist. Kudos to him. So I think the season you are talking about, they played one of the biggest teams in world football. Madrid, they played Bayern Munich, they played. So I think Man City really played so fantastic, and because of the system I was talking about, this team played together. You don't know who to mark, you don't know where to mark from, because the midfield is creating a lot of chances. Even the defense line can even score goals. You saw the Thunderbolts John Stones scored. Look at even Rodri can pull up a shot. Technicality, they are there. They are so good. So the brain is always available. You can't mention a bad game he had for Man City, apart from the World Cup, after coming from the World Cup. So these guys are always at the A-class performer. So it's always there. They are always giving that top-notch performance. Then come over to 9 to 10 Barca squad. You can just pick 3 players that can give you that kind of magic performance in a game. Look at Messi. You can pull out a string. Look at Iniesta. Look at Xavi. Then come to the defense line. I'm not too sure that if they meet up this Haaland we are saying here, this robotic Haaland, he's so complete. He's so complete. His touch, he has the speed, he has the strength to conquer. They look at.
So are you saying that defense line of Barca cannot hold and silence Erling Haaland?
I don't think no one can. No team would. No team.
How many goals did Haaland? Did he score at the final of the Champions League?
He scored 50 goals.
How many has he scored in the Champions League? And how many goals did he score at the final?
He scored 12 goals in the Champions League.
How many did he score in the final?
He stopped scoring since I don't think he scored a goal in the semis and the
against Bayern. I don't think he scored.
No, he's not. No, he scored against.
Okay, he scored against Bayern. Yeah,
Bayern.
Good.
He did not score against Madrid. Then yes, he did not score against Madrid. So
are you saying that Barca squad cannot hold and silence Erling Haaland?
Strength. I don't. Okay, look at Puyol. I see. No, that back. See, I'm so scared.
They will break people's leg. See, we know that this. I feel like football now is even strikers are so pampered and a lot of times, they will break people's legs. That's all I can say. You cannot say. I'm not taking anything away from Erling Haaland. He's a fantastic footballer, but to say that that Barca squad cannot stop him in any way. There are teams in the Premier League
that has stopped
last season that Haaland did not score against. There are teams that literally made him almost ineffective. There was a particular team that at the end of the first half, Haaland had only 3 touches of the ball.
That's against Brentford. I can vividly remember that game.
He had only 3 touches of the ball. Who are the Brentford's central defenders? Who are the players in Brentford? No, so when you talk about that with, if you ask Spanish people, they will tell you Carlos Puyol is perhaps one of the greatest defenders that they've ever had, and you say that Haaland, I'm not again discrediting what Haaland can do, but I'm saying also don't discredit what those Barcelona men, because they were men,
They be boys.
they'll be boys, are men. What the men in the defense could do or can do.
So finally, from you, who beats each other? Because that's where Yaya Toure is coming from, or that's where he came from. You've analyzed, you've told us, great things, great stuff, and fantastic analysis. Well, you're dodging the question. Who beat who?
Because I have to.
Do you agree that Yaya Toure's 2009 Barcelona team will beat this City's team?
Can I answer while he's thinking? It's a big yes. They will beat them and beat them well.
See, the way they
will beat them.
The way they played Madrid.
They will beat them, Reliance, and beat them well.
It's just because of.
They will beat them and beat them well.
Yes.
Like that's like from 3 goals and above.
Yes, but I mean, Man City will score themselves, but they will beat them well.
Okay.
Can you imagine? This is expecting Haaland and his crew members.
You know who Thierry Henry was at that point in time?
Do you know what the breed?
No, do you know who Thierry Henry was? Samuel Eto'o, who was just the world, who had just, he was the world's best player. And at that point in time, with a young Lionel Messi who was playing at the left. Oh, I'm bringing back memories. I have tears in my eyes.
You have Lionel Messi on one hand.
Oh God.
You have Thierry Henry on the other hand.
Forgive them for they don't know what they do.
You have Samuel Eto'o on one hand. Well, and let's not forget that this City team doesn't have a trio.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They don't have a formidable, should I say, regular trio. So you're looking at Erling Haaland, you're looking at maybe Bernardo Silva, or maybe Riyad Mahrez. Then you're looking at
Jack Grealish and Foden.
Oh, Jack Grealish, and then Phil Foden.
See, I'm saying this. Why I want to play side by side with the Barca squad, because
they who will win.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you.
Who will win?
Thank you, my brother.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll give it to Man City.
Man City will win. All right, so it's 1-1. Let's see if Queen Chike is here, will break the tie for us. She's in the studio. Queen, who wins each other? The 2009 Barca squad and this City team. Who do you think will beat each other?
The 2009 Barca squad is head, shoulders, knees and toes above this City squad.
There's Erling Haaland in City squad. There's Kevin De Bruyne.
I know.
There's Ruben Diaz.
It's just
there's
about
Moriah. There's Skywalker.
Now let me give you an instance. You see this City team now. Maybe if there's anything happens to Hazard, Haaland, and then Kevin De Bruyne is not in that same game, we've seen how they struggle. But that 1999 team,
2009.
I'm sorry, 2009 team.
Okay,
look at that squad.
They never bought because it
let's let Chukwuzite breathe. I mean, you look at that squad. You have, like you mentioned, Thierry Henry, experienced heads, Samuel Eto'o at a point. growing but fantastic Messi, and a lot of them. You go to the defense. I mean, you can't compare this defense to that defense. This City defense to that defense. We had Puyo, we had Piqué, we had was the other guy on Dani Alves. I mean, come on, they are just far above this City. They will beat this City team. Like Victor said, this City team could score a goal because really it will be difficult for Haaland to score that defense that has Puyo, Piqué. Maybe Piqué could be the weak link, maybe because he's not always that fantastic, you know. But then it's going to be a very difficult task for.
They go see ball. City. This is the same. Go see ball hole.
I don't. Maybe for some time.
Who will ball possession?
I think that Barca team will win the ball possession. That Barca team will win the ball possession.
They will win the ball possession.
Yeah, and they will still beat them when via score lines.
All right, so 2-1 in the studio. Now, what do you think about this City squad and that 2009 Barca squad? Before we'll come to the phone lines and have your reactions, let's talk about this City squad going forward, because he didn't stop there. Toure did not stop there. He also talked about this City squad going forward. Now, after 2009, 2009-2010, Barca were not so clinical, especially in Europe, but it was more or less, I think they retained the La Liga, if memory serves me right, 2011-2012, or 2013-2014 that Atletico Madrid won the La Liga, and then 2010, Real Madrid were like, nah, this is not happening. They brought anti-tiki-taka football in Jose Mourinho, and then the rest, they say, is history. The battle became very fierce, and some people don't know that Jose Mourinho and Pep Guardiola grew up together in Barcelona, but that's the top four on that day. So Jose Mourinho came, and there was that paradigm shift. There was that proper competition, because Real Madrid were almost struggling at the time, you know, and all that stuff. But we could see that struggle from the Pep Guardiola team after that treble winning team, even though they had a couple of trophies to add to it. So Queen, do you think that will be the case? It looks like Pep Guardiola has gotten to the climax of the achievement, because he himself admitted that without a UEFA Champions League trophy, he can't compare his team to any of the biggest teams that have ever been seen in football. The Barca team, the 1999 Man U squad, even the Bayern Munich squad, you know, and all that, before he won the Job Heynckes Bayern Munich squad and all that stuff. But he has won the treble now with Barca, with Man City. Post that treble, do you see this Man City team struggling, even, let's say, in Europe, or maybe even in the Premier League?
Well, if you look at, let's even go back to some of the teams that won the treble and what happened afterwards. Manchester United won the treble in 1999. It didn't stop them from still going on. A large chunk of those players were still with Manchester United, even up until 2013, before Sarr retired. So I don't think, you look at the bunch of players that City have in their mix, a lot of them are quite young, and if you ask me, I think some of the players who would have been weak link in, say, because of their age and all, a lot of them are going to be leaving. Some have left also. So I think they won't struggle. They won't struggle. It's Pep Guardiola. Yeah, there is that sense of, okay, I've achieved it all. But Pep Guardiola, I don't think Pep is that kind of a coach. Pep is a coach that is hungry for more. And if you are in his squad and you don't have that mentality, then you're going to be having a problem with him. I won't be surprised if some of these players that achieve this feat, who remain with the club, will be coming in from the bench. Because he might want to field in people who haven't gotten anything, who are still hungry who wants to do something for themselves. I mean, if you join this City team, they've won the treble, and you join them after they have won, you want to do something also to, you know, fill in that class. You want to maybe make a history for yourself, so you could be like, okay, I can equate, even if not completely, with the class that won the treble. We can fight to win maybe the Premier League and the FA Cup again. So at least our name will be written in the history book of City. So I think it won't stop them. There won't be any laxity in the team, because it's not a new manager. If it was a new manager, then I would have said, okay, they could struggle, but it's still Pep Guardiola, and a large number of those players are still in that squad.
Toure is now 40. He has just taken up a new post as assistant to Karl Hofkens at Belgian club Standard Liège. and has a cautionary tale too. After Barcelona won the treble in 2009, they found it difficult to keep up such high standards. Although they retained their La Liga title in 2009-10, they went out the cup early and lost to Jose Mourinho's Inter Milan in the Champions League semi-finals. Guardiola wouldn't want to repeat with the City side now. Here is Toure again talking. He says, we won everything and then we had a bit of a downfall. But that is normal for human beings. You have to have the right motivation. Sometimes it is the leader, the head coach, who has to set this up for all the players. Pep Guardiola has created a system in Manchester City, Victor. A system that even reliance comes in there. If I don't perform, that means I wasn't good enough as even if an average footballer. And that was the premise in which people criticize what's his name, the £100 million signing, Jack Grealish at the time, although he found a way to, integrate himself into the squad and performing, giving the assist and all that stuff. He has created a system at City. Pep Guardiola leaves Manchester City. And what do you see happening? Can that system be sustained, or will it just be, an era where, will the era quickly end? It's not up to 10 years just yet. Will the era quickly ends as Pep departs City? Another coach comes in and has the inability to recreate that system and keep that system running with the competition they have right now in the English Premier League. When you're talking about standard, you're talking about Man City because of Pep Guardiola. So will it be the beginning of an end if Pep leaves, a manager comes in and has the struggles, to recreate what City has done under Pep Guardiola? And then they return to being the noisy neighbors again.
I think it's going to be very difficult to say this. It's going to be very difficult to say because every manager comes in with a different mentality. Every manager comes in with a different style and all of that. So it's very difficult because I would like to say that this is not going to happen or this is going to happen. I mean, obviously, if they bring in a new coach, the new coach will not be running on Pep Guardiola's system. Mm-hmm. He would have to set up whatever will work for him. Yeah. So it just means that the board, when they are appointing whoever they are appointing as a coach, they need to be very certain that, okay, this is what we need, this is what we need, and try and see how that is going to work out for them. So that's the focus. But then, just taking us a little bit back to what Yaya Toure said about the following season for Barcelona.
Yeah.
The problem with success is people say, what's the reward for hard work? More work.
More work.
At that point in time, Pep got the treble. The following season, that was the season that Barcelona won 6 trophies. Yet, if you remember, that was the season that they won the UEFA Super Cup, they won the Club World Cup. I think they won the league again. Yeah,
they returned the league 2009-10. They returned the league. Yeah. So they lost the Champions League.
I know that it was in that season. They won 6 trophies in that calendar year, in the year 2009. You begin to wonder, is it the same? And yet, many persons, they won the FIFA Club World Cup too. Many persons still touted that
they won the Copa del Rey 2009-10.
No, they didn't win the Copa del Rey.
They didn't win the Copa del Rey.
They lost to Sevilla in the round of 16. That was what he was trying to say. That they eventually lost the Copa del Rey.
Yeah.
And they got 99 points in the league. They got 99 points in the league. That was the season that even Real Madrid themselves were on such a fine run that they got. Real Madrid had 96 points, and then Barcelona had 99 points. But that's the same season that this year Toure say was not a good season. Simply because they did not win the Copa.
You're looking at they lost the Copa del Rey, they lost the Champions League at the semi-final. Someone would say,
they had a better point tally than the previous season. They won more trophies than
they still won the league.
You see, that's the problem. That's why I said by saying the reward for hard work is more work.
Now, here's the thing, Victor. There are people who don't regard the Club World Cup and the Super Cup. They have to think before and say, okay, there's a Club World Cup, there's a Super Cup. What people look at, for instance, in the Premier League, FA Cup, Premier League, Carling Cup, domestic trophies. In the La Liga, Copa del Rey, the La Liga title, what's the other one called? I think there's one other one. Those are the two I
Yeah,
can
just
remember.
the
Two I can remember at the moment. So this is what people look at. Even the what is it called? Which one is Coupe de la Ligue?
That's in France.
That's in France.
That's
Even
in
the Coupe
France.
de la Ligue in France, people don't really regard it. So they are looking at before Super Cup, no be postseason this thing, Club World Cup, no be. So maybe from that angle, they are like the only thing we won in the La Liga was the Premier League, the La Liga title. The Copa del Rey they
with
lost.
99 points.
That's it.
That's massive
trophy
success.
give
I mean, well, some people will get 99 over 100 and cry. Some people will get 50 over 100
and
and
Please don't remind me.
and thank the
Don't
Lord,
remind
you
me.
know, for the marvelous
it's
things
marvelous
he's doing.
things.
Don't
So
remind
I
me,
think that's
please.
just we reiterate.
All
They did
right.
not have a disappointing They did not have a disappointing next season. The following season after that, they won the Champions League again. You
Yeah.
know, so it actually was back to back success one way or the other for Pep Guardiola and while he was with Barcelona.
All right.
It's just people think you win the treble this season, you win it next season. I mean, a lot of persons are also believing that Man City will win the treble
again next season.
You know,
So let's have that conversation
It's not gonna
now
happen.
with our listeners. Let's have the conversation at this point. Would you agree with Yaya Toure that the 2009 Barcelona team, we've dissected that team from all angles, will defeat this Man City squad who just won the treble, and post Pep Guardiola, do you see City returning to being, quote, ordinary, maybe the noisy neighbors once again? Because Pep has left and then the team returns to just being that Man City team there. So let's have you talk to us. 0817 000951 and 0810 9510951. Which team do you fancy is your favorite? This City squad under Pep or the Barcelona squad tonight under set manager Pep Guardiola? Let's start with the normal way. This abnormal way, but I start from line 2. That's abnormal. So let me start from line 1. That's normal. Good afternoon, welcome. Hello there, good afternoon to you. Alright, it's not ready for us. Do well to call back. Normal way don't work. I wish I knew I would have started abnormally. Okay, so do well to call back as we couldn't get your thoughts to pass through. Let's go to line 2 now. Hi, good afternoon. Hello there, somebody home? Yes, please. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Olawale from Rupoko.
Okay, Olawale from Rupoko. Let's have your contribution.
I think the 2009 Bayern Barcelona will win this current Man City squad. Reason because this current Man City squad, I do most of the things for them. Are you with me?
Surely, I'm with you.
The manager Guardiola do most of the thinking for them. I think Lautaro Martinez have scored that goal that day. Everything will have spoiled for Man City. I think he do the assist for Lukaku. Everything will have spoiled for Guardiola that day. For 2009, Guardiola, nothing like that. It's not overthink. It's not self-defense. It's just for the player to do the most part of the job. That's why 2009 Barcelona way ahead. Anytime, any day, they will beat this current Man City squad. Hands down.
Okay.
Because Guardiola do most of the thinking now. Guardiola do most of the thinking for them.
Yeah.
They will overtake.
For this particular City team, right?
For this particular City team, yes.
He has been overthinking and finally won the Champions
I call
League.
him the overthinking manager. I love
The boy that time, it's not like Messi has gotten to the climax of his career.
Yeah, now I know now. It's not boy that doing big job now.
Doing
job that men do. You have Eddie, you have Samuel Eto'o. Don't forget.
Okay.
It's tough.
Okay.
In the bench, you
All
have
right.
Pedro.
Yeah.
You have Yaya Toure.
Yeah.
But now, now let's go back to 2021-2022 against Man City. Benjamin Felamendi removed that goal that really supposed to have scored. If you remember, Man City, I'm talking about Man City Madrid now.
Yeah.
The moment Felamendi removed that goal, that is when everything came for Guardiola. The run stop came, everything. If you remember, I don't know, maybe you can flash back now.
All
Are
right.
you with me?
All right. Surely. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for contributing. Let's go back to line 1 now. Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, Ogbonna.
Okay, Ogbonna, let's have your contribution.
Yeah, I'm calling you about the guy that started this job abnormally. Okay. Just a quick one. That was network.
Yeah.
So see, if I see that 2019 and this 2021, 2022 of Gadira 23, I'm going to bet my husband on top 2009. I'll go bet and go sleep. You know, like the last I just said, you had the city of 2022, 2023 bet. But that 2019 was not the risk of first chances. I'm sure Iniesta and these guys have you in the midfield, right?
Yeah, Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets.
Yeah, Toure was there.
Toure was there, yeah.
You know much at all. Yes, as it stands now, if you look at the quality, let's even dissect other teams, or let's look at the teams they played then and the quality of the teams they are playing now. You see that Man City, for God's sake, is now at the level of that 2019. That was a complete team. Had them, like Glasgow said, had players whose brain was processing sport. Manager did it. That time said, if you coach Barcelona, you will win. I swear. So what we have now, see if Lukaku has scored, Lautaro Martinez has not missed his own, we would not be having this discussion. Now, that was not a final. That was one of the most boring finals I've watched in recent years.
Compared to 2019 final, Liverpool, Tottenham.
Me, I be Liverpool fan, no hit me. That one's sweet. I'm a Liverpool fan. No hit me. You like say, just man down our studio.
It must reach you. The breakfast must reach everybody. I don't know. But what do you make? If you're talking about a boring final, that 2019 final between Liverpool and Tottenham.
Oh God, that was good. No, that one bought past that one. No,
Are you saying because you're a Liverpool fan?
See, you know that it's just like you having high expectation. Somebody serve you food. When you can't eat and it is anything no sweet. This final was more so anticipated that we were
the same for that Liverpool Tottenham final. Let's not forget that Liverpool were playing high pressing football at the very top level at the time, and Mauricio Pochettino with Tottenham were equally scintillating with their pressing football and attacking football. So many, including myself, that night I was ready with everything. I was ready for masterclass. Hit me, I hit you. But in the end, I slept off.
Wait, let me ask you now. Your expectation in 2019 and in 2023, was it the same?
It wasn't the same. In fact, I actually expected it.
Which one was higher?
Good.
Which one was higher?
2019.
2023.
No, 2019 was higher. Let me tell you why. Okay, 2023 final, I didn't expect so much because I expected Inter Milan to go defensive. I expected Inter Milan to go all defensive and find opportunity to run through Lautaro Martinez or what's the other guy with the pace. That was what I expected from Inter Milan. In fact, to confess, at the point I was like, Inter even played football more than what I expected. So I didn't really expect a masterclass of football. But you see that 2019, come on with Pochettino with his attacking-minded football.
Let me tell you why you shouldn't have expected much from 2019. We all know Pochettino.
You're a Liverpool fan, so you no go agree. I'm not saying no go agree.
Club had an issue with even playing finals, which we are aware.
Okay.
So me, the expectations are not high.
All right.
We are looking at two coaches who are now at the top of their game when it comes to one-off finals.
Okay.
But the man you have a Guardiola that has them like he's a serial winner. Although he was being hunted by hello.
We can hear you.
I said although you.
Okay. Okay, sorry about that. The network wasn't friendly toward the later part of the conversation. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Victor.
This is Reliance. Victor is here.
Reliance, sorry. And I greet Queen and
yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everybody there. As for me, my name is David. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead.
And I'm also known as Chelsea Chieftain.
Okay. See, Edwin, aka Chelsea Chieftain.
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
Thank you. See, for me, there is no comparison at all between the then Barcelona and this current Man City that just won the Champions League. See, in every ramification of each player on the pitch, I can't pick anyone out for the Barcelona of them. That is for me. You understand? I play football, I read football, I try to understand football, even though if not to the highest level. But with my experience in football, you understand, I have nobody, you understand, to substitute for any of the Man City current squad. No one I can pick out. As other people have been saying, for anyone, you understand, who really...
Let's understand your point. Are you saying that there is nobody from that Barca 2009 squad that can fit into this City team, or you're saying otherwise?
I say what I'm saying is that none of this Man City team, none of the player, you understand?
Yeah.
I can bring out. You understand? None of the Barcelona players of them I can substitute for any of this Man City player. Is it even the reserve on the bench? What are we talking about? See, my dear brother, the Barcelona of them, you understand, they will beat this Man City. Even if they repeat playing every 4 days, they will continue to beat them. And that is the simple truth. Anybody who knows what is football, they are not the same class at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We had to. You
almost had us worried there. I mean, I thought you were saying Jack Grealish will bench Messi.
Honestly, I had to pay a close attention just to pick your point. But thank you very much for contributing. I understand you quite clearly. Hi, good afternoon to you. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon. This is son of Man City Togo boy calling from Muslim.
Okay, let me hear it from the Man City angle. Time don't reach. Talk it.
I like one of question he asked one of you there. I like it. So now I'm waiting to hear the answer.
Hello there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
What question did I ask?
Yeah, you asked them who will go ball in Barca, and nobody answer, and they are just laughing. Who do you think will go ball at Barca? Who? If Bayern can remove Kylian Mbappe and Messi, Neymar them on and by PSG, and Man City went there without PSG, without Mbappe, without Neymar, without Messi, and knock them away. Who is Barca? Who think Man U win them? Who is the Barca? Just say I want you to tell me who is the Barca. Man City will flow with what was Barca. So nothing like a. Barca will not see ball to play. They will not see single ball to play.
Let me ask you. Are you honestly saying, son of Man City Togo boy, do want to call back if you can?
Present.
Are you? No, it's not the present Barca team, by the way. Son of Man City Togo boy. It's not the present Man City team. What am I saying?
It's not the present.
It's not the present Barca team. We are talking about 2009,
2008,
2009 Barcelona team that won the treble. That's the team we are talking about.
And you talked about how you saying which player will hold the ball more. And I mean, at the start of the show, I talked about the fact that it was tiki-taka. Tiki-taka dealt mean no one holds the ball too much.
Yeah.
So they didn't hold onto the ball too much.
Was it about
quick, short, precise, concise passes.
Tick-tack. Just take it, move it.
Oh, Queen is a coach. Coach Queen.
Shoot it.
Move it, extend it to the front, and put it in the back of the net.
Yes, Coach Queen. Hi, good afternoon, welcome. Yes, please.
Yeah, this is Obuna calling back. I just wanted to tell you that nature does not play. See, that guy was comparing this network. Nature made network to end this call.
Bye-bye, Obuna. Bye-bye. You just called to find trouble, Abby. Hi, good afternoon, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, Reliance.
Hi, good afternoon to you. What's your name?
This is Matthew calling from Iwofe.
All right, Matthew from Iwofe. Let's have your contribution.
I am just trying to say that if anybody that started to watch football early and watch that Barca team, they will not be saying what they know about watching football currently now. That Barca team was in a class of their own. Individually, you mentioned every player in that team were top-notch players. Is it in their attack? Are you going to compare Samuel Eto'o or Thierry Henry to Erling Haaland that cannot play ball with his feet? He only stays there inside the 18 and tapping. Who are you going to substitute in that back? Is it Sergio Busquets for Rodri? Sergio Busquets that command midfield, command that back by himself and play ball out peacefully and carefully. I'm telling you that back team will beat this Man City team hands down completely, and that back team can play without the coach. Can play without the coach. This Man City team only succeeded in winning this Champions League because the big boys there were fumbling this season. They were completely fumbling. Real Madrid were out. Bayern Munich were not there. Even Chelsea were struggling. In the league this season, the only challenge they had, they didn't even have challenge in the Premier League this season because Arsenal were not. They didn't even think of Arsenal as a title competitor. Arsenal just find themselves in where they did not realize. So Man City did not even find it out to win look at the point tally they used in winning the Premier League. So there was no challenge for them there. If there was anything like challenge, Liverpool were there and Chelsea, I bet you Man City wouldn't have won the league this season. So you don't compare these teams. Man City were even stronger like 2 or 3 seasons ago, not this present Man City team. I'm telling you, if you watch football, you know what I'm talking about. There's nobody in the middle. It's just that the genius of Pep Guardiola that he planted his brain in. See, this again is compared to a place you are living
that thing you said happened to Togo boy. That nature is happening to you now because network will allow you. Will they allow us here?
Compare the time that they played and see this Man U, and you know that Barcelona is a different class. If Man City had...
Will it return to an ordinary team again, where they are just there, languishing around the 6th to 7th position in the Premier League? Because many have agreed that Guardiola has created a system where anybody fits in. Can that system be sustained by another manager? Also contribute on that. Thank you very much. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name remains no photocopy, no duplicate. I call you from Renewable.
Signature. Understood. Go ahead.
I think I will start with your question. What makes the Man City team what it is today is what the owners built for more than a decade now. From Pellegrini to Mancini, they always look for a superb manager that will do a superb job. When they brought in Pellegrini, was doing well. When they brought in Mancini, was doing well. I could remember when Pellegrini used Malaga and played the Champions League semi-final or thereabouts before they brought him in. So what is happening today is not only the effort of Pep, it is the desire of the manager to make sure that the club remain on top of the game and become one of the top European clubs. So even though Pep goes today, there will be a manager. He might not do what Pep has done, but there will be a manager that will make them a big club because of the honor.
All right.
Then comparing the two teams, the Barca team of 2009 and the Man City team of now. One thing that we should understand was that Barca team were playing. The players in that team rule Europe in their club side as a Barca, and they also rule Europe as a country. If you can remember, in 2010, 50% of those players, the Puyo of this world, Iniesta, and the other defender, the Shakira husband, they went to the 2010 World Cup and won.
And they won the World Cup, in South Africa.
And they still stick around and won their league either 3 times or thereabouts. I start to be corrected. They still stick around and make the Man U again and beat Man U again to prove to people that the first one they did was not a mistake. And the Man U they beat has a world base in the person of Ronaldo. He has a good midfielders like Postgol, Ranjik. He has a very radical defender in the person of Ferdinand. So he has a Efra bus stop and a very good team. They beat. So I don't see this Man City team coming close to that team. It is quite unfortunate that Man City were lucky on that final because I was not seeing anything to watch. I planned to see Man City doing what Madrid did to Juventus and trash Inter, maybe 4-1, 5-0 to prove that yes, they are the world champions. But what I saw that day was a fluke in a PK until I've never seen Pep worship pitch. Pep kneel down and worship the pitch. His tension was much. Inter were better side on that day as far as I'm concerned. So the two teams cannot be compared in any way. That comparison should not have come in the first place. They were lucky. Thank you. That's my take.
All right. Thank you very much for contributing. For the copy from Ramigbo. Hi, good afternoon. Welcome.
Yes, I call back. My head finished. So
okay. Okay, go ahead. Togo boy, right?
Yeah, I thought that you want to ask me something. The son of Man City.
I can't remember what I wanted to ask you, but maybe I had asked.
Let me hear you. Is it not this December who is it from Champions League? Two straight seasons. Which sometimes we should leave sentiment and say the truth. Is it Xavi that will beat Pep Guardiola? I don't know. Other team have tried. It's not like Man City is not unbeatable, but he can be. But he's not Barca. Barca cannot beat Man City. Barca, particular Barca, I know, cannot beat Man City. If we Real Madrid try to beat Man City, who is Barca? Barca, Man U beat. Man U beat Barca. Man U beat Barca. So who is Barca? Who is going to control ball?
Togo boy.
Yes, sir.
Which of the Barcelona team are you talking about? The Barcelona team under Xavi Hernandez or the Barcelona team under Pep Guardiola?
I thought that Barca of today.
No, we are not talking about Barca of today. We are talking about Barca of 2008/2009 season under Pep Guardiola.
Who is coaching them?
It was Pep Guardiola that was the coach then.
Okay, let me say now, maybe Man City, maybe our Pep is coaching Man City then, another person is coaching Barca then. Man City will beat Barca. The way Pep Guardiola beat his teams.
You are taking us, son of Man City, you are taking us out of context. Now, Yaya Toure, let me put the proper context for you. Yaya Toure played for Barcelona. He played for Pep Guardiola in Barca in 2009. That squad won the treble, the Champions League, the La Liga, and the Copa del Rey. Yaya Toure played for Pep Guardiola again at Manchester City. Not this current Man City squad, but this current Man City squad has won the treble, just like that 2009 Barca squad. And he's saying, Yaya Toure is saying that 2009 Barcelona squad that won the treble will beat this current Man City squad under the same manager Pep Guardiola that won the treble. That's the talking point. And so we started analyzing and dissecting both teams. Right?
Let me answer you. Then, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes. Then Barcelona team and this current Man City team with the Pep Guardiola, Barca cannot beat and Man City current now. Forget Yaya Toure. Yaya Toure should go and rest because he said something that the Pep Guardiola is.
You can point me to where he said it because I can't find it. The only thing I understand is that the agent of Yaya Toure made an insinuation about African shamans not allowing Pep to win the Champions League due to his treatment of Yaya at Man City. I can't find where Yaya Toure said Pep will no longer win the Champions League. Guys, can anybody attest to it?
No,
I can't find it.
Yes, but let me tell you, after you know this current now that we are verge of no returning, he now say that he have returned that course back. Yaya Toure should go and rest and should face his problem.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for contributing. We appreciate you for dropping by. Keep the reactions coming through as we look to transition to other matters on the show this afternoon. Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yep. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
My name is Chinedu. I'm calling you from Port Harcourt.
Go ahead.
We are talking about Man City team, this 2022 Man City team and that of Barcelona 2009.
Yes, please.
Do you remember the kind of squad that beat Man U in that 2009 system? That Man U in Champions League final. that gave Messi his first Ballon d'Or. Do you remember? The same squad went to World Cup, represented Spain, and won the World Cup. 2011 again, they came back and won the same Champions League. You can't use the speed of flight compared to the speed. Man City.
Keep the reactions coming through, and from the angle that you see things, definitely others will not see it from your own angle, which is understood. They will always have their point to back it up, and so you just have to come from your own angle. Let me go back to line one.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. No, in a bed, but let me see that.
Okay, can you excuse yourself a little bit from the music playing at the background so we can have a smooth conversation? All right. Thank you. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's Ernest from Mundele.
Ernest. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, I know that everybody is entitled to his own opinion, but there are some opinions that if you make it to the public, I think it's let them and flog you. How can somebody compare the squad of Barcelona 2009 and this Man City of just yesterday? Now, let's go this way. These two teams were coached, one was coached, in fact, they were just told by the same coach. And it was Pep Guardiola, first time of, in fact, I would say that is just the beginning of his career.
More like it, yeah. More like it, yeah.
Yes, and he was able to win treble with this team. And somebody is comparing to the team that he has coached for 6 years or 7 years before he was able to win a treble. Come on. Now, somebody is undermining the effort of PK. Let me say this. PK was a nobody. He was in Manchester United and he can barely play a game. I could remember even before he moved to Barcelona, he wasn't playing a game until one day, either it should be a quarter-final or something, when he was asked to play against AS Roma. I think he got recorded in that game, and I know what Manchester United fans they said about him that day. And this same player, Guardiola got him from Man United back to Barcelona, and he became a fortress. That was why when he won treble in Wembley, he took back the net to home. And somebody is comparing him with Emmanuel Conte or what? I don't even get it. Yes, you're the one who said something that just got into my head. Apart from the city department, here we have Victor Valdez and Ederson Mora. I think that's the person I'm considering. But if you look at the strikers you have that time that can shoot from a distance, you can't still compare him with Ederson. I think in fact, now during that time, go to all the big things in Europe. You could pick up, 16 players, 15 midfielders, 15 defenders, and this team conquer them. Is it that what do you have now? What do you have now? Somebody is telling me that you can take out Henry for this football they are playing this time. No, you see, there is no way from goalkeeping department to Saka. You can't take out anybody from that personal team to put anybody from that team. I'm telling you the truth. If anybody does, let that person go back and watch the clip of that time and see what these men were able to do. See that they did not win back to back. Wasn't because they were not playing well. It was because one, players as at that time can be compared with the player we have now. And again, see, it's not every effort you put that will give you the same result. At times you will try, you get result too, but may not be compared to. It's either you get better result or you get a near perfect result. So you're getting what I'm saying. So for them not winning treble back to back, that's why it happened. Not because they don't deserve it or they didn't play to get that. No. And for Ayatollah to say that the players they not get a good result, it's a lie. But because for me, as long as you are playing football, you not go home and say you've won a trophy, and the trophy you've won, not just maybe what is it called? Europa, like you won a major league. Because that time, this Barcelona team dominated Madrid. Like even when we have Carvalho in the Madrid team, they were still dominating them. And let me tell you this: Do you know that at the beginning of Sergio Ramos' career, he was playing as a centre back? Can you still remember that?
Yeah, surely.
Yes. So it was switching from centre back to this to right back. So, and somebody here telling me that you can compare Manakonji with now. Come on, that is the person.
No. Hold on. You said Ramos. Which are you talking about? Sergio Ramos.
Yes.
Okay, he was moved to right back. Where in the Spanish national team?
Yes.
Okay. I think I can remember something like that. Yeah. I can remember. Yeah.
Because of PK, and somebody here telling me comparing Manakonji. Can Manakonji, even now that he's still young, move Ramos at that time as brutal as Ramos was? No, that's see. Let me tell you, if they should bring those things today and play against Man City, they will win. They put up black and blue, and Bio will pocket Haaland. I'm telling you that. Go to anywhere.
All right, thank you very much, Ernest.
They won't even see football to play because they will take possession, they will win them, they will do, and somebody is comparing. Imagine Abida of that day.
All right. Okay.
Let me say, hang up.
Okay.
Now, you know that fine now, that the Adidas did not play. It was. Come on, let's go to play for this.
All right. Do you know what the Bible says? Ernest.
Remind me.
The Bible says, let the dead bury their dead. Go back to the burial. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. We appreciate you for listening in despite being at a funeral ground. Thank you very much. We do certainly appreciate that and also contribute